Daisy's voice rang out. That man left already. Kit asked in surprise, who? Daisy, diligently cleaning, continued, the inspector from the Capitol. I heard he left early this morning. Kit let out a bewildered "oh." She seemed a little surprised as she thought, that very well-dressed man. Daisy wondered aloud, did he catch the criminal? She continued working, feigning indifference. I don't know. Maybe that's why he left. Kit thought to herself, puzzled. Is there even a case in a place like this? Daisy was still very curious. But if he caught someone, shouldn't there be news about the criminal? Kit hesitated. That's true. Daisy's face flushed red with exasperation. What's with you? Your reaction is so boring. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to know what happened? Seeing her like this, Kit laughed. Daisy still wanted to know everything. Next time, I'll ask the kitchen staff. Kit remained silent, lost in thought. I don't even know if there was a case. Daisy seemed perplexed. But it seems like everyone except me is very interested in the inspector who came to this small village. Thinking this, she still pretended not to care. I don't know. It doesn't concern me. A maid laughed cheerfully upon hearing the news. The guest left early this morning. Daisy hummed in agreement and casually asked, about that inspector, have you heard anything about them catching a criminal? Suddenly, her tone became more serious. Do you think he didn't catch anyone? The other maids also chattered nonstop. I heard there wasn't any criminal. It seems he came here to check if there was a case in the first place. Another maid asked in surprise, you mean even though there's no criminal, he still came to investigate? What? Kit remained relaxed, sipping her tea and listening to their gossip. Who knows what those higher-ups are thinking? They chuckled. But I guess all the men from the Capitol dress that extravagantly for work. Huh. Another girl laughed. Did you see that blue scarf? I couldn't see anything but that. Kit, laughing along, joined in. You mean the one with the 2 gold stripes at the end? Suddenly, her eyes sharpened, noticing something. The maids all glanced at Ian, who was standing at the door, observing everyone. Kit looked around, thinking to herself, everyone's here. She looked at him. They were all aware of Ian's presence. She recalled his stern face. He should lighten up a bit. She gulped, silently complaining. He's all business. Daisy brought a cup of tea over to him. Ian, would you like some tea? He shook his head, coldly replying, no need. Daisy seemed to deflate on the spot. Even Kit, watching from the side, felt indignant on her behalf. How frustrating. She fumed inwardly. What's so great about him anyway? She couldn't understand why everyone was so infatuated with him. Aside from his handsome face, there's nothing but that cold expression. Who knows what he's thinking? And he's so arrogant towards the staff. Her eyes kept darting suspiciously towards Ian. He came to town without a letter of introduction. He doesn't necessarily have to be a servant. Aren't there a few suspicious things about him? Plus that scrutinizing gaze. He seems to be staring at me. Kit quickly looked away. She thought anxiously, he just looked at me, didn't he? I'm breaking out in a cold sweat. He really creeps me out sometimes. She couldn't shake the feeling of unease. It felt like something was watching her, or maybe it was just her imagination. Suddenly, Butler Dale clapped his hands loudly and announced, everyone, gather around. Everyone jumped up and turned towards him. He scratched his head and said, there's been a slight change in this afternoon's schedule. I'm sure you all know, but the guests who've been staying here for the past few days left early this morning. So, he hesitated, then continued. What I mean is, Kit thought to herself, could it be? Then, he gave the order, Kit and Daisy, please clean their rooms thoroughly. They both replied, yes, sir. But outside, Kit thought to herself. As expected, they both seemed a little reluctant. Their feet moved, but their mouths grumbled. Ian silently watched them with his arms crossed. Daisy was still puzzled by what had happened earlier. She asked, Kit, do you know what that inspector was doing here? Kit was surprised by the question, but calmly replied, he's an inspector, not an investigator. Daisy didn't think it was that simple. But normally, if there's a crime, security investigates, right? Why would they need an inspector too? Kit paused, thinking, that is a bit strange, but Daisy continued, her voice full of suspicion. Besides, are you sure he was really an inspector? Kit looked at her blankly. What do you mean? Daisy explained her doubts. I mean his clothes. It's the first time I've seen a man so dressed up. How can we be sure he's an inspector? Really, Kit didn't think it was unusual. Even if he stands out enough to be seen in the dark, whether he does his job, well, has nothing to do with how he dresses. Daisy was still focused on his appearance. Still, he looked all right. Are all the men in the Capitol that cool? As she continued talking, Kit noticed a glove under the cushion. Daisy, Kit called out, but Daisy was lost in thought. Ian is handsome too, isn't he? Daisy, Kit called a second time. Daisy was still thinking, oblivious. I'm sure he's from the capital too. Daisy, Kit called louder a third time. Startled, Daisy turned around. Huh. Kit held up the glove. Look at this. Daisy's eyes lit up. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It must belong to that guest. Kit said seriously, we should tell the butler anyway. Suddenly, she froze. In contrast to Kit, Daisy was excited. Oh, Ian, what's up? He had just walked in. Kit suddenly felt a pang of guilt. Why am I avoiding him? He coldly answered Daisy's question. I came to help you take the mattress away. Daisy expressed her gratitude. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're so kind. Kit remained silent, observing, and thought to herself, he's lying. If he really intended to help, he would have done so already. She had seen him earlier, just standing there, glancing over. Daisy picked up the glove. What about this? I guess it belongs to the inspector who left this morning. Ian spoke up. I'll give it to him. Kit was surprised again. What? She thought carefully. Doesn't he usually avoid doing anything that isn't his job, even pouring a glass of water? As she lifted the mattress, she thought, what is he up to? He continued to glance over, observing her actions. She tossed him a mattress to hold. He looked surprised. What's this? Kit, seemingly annoyed, said bluntly, I heard you were going to help us move these mattresses, so please take this one. She turned away. Only Daisy rushed to Ian's aid. Oh, honestly, Kit. She quickly helped him, taking some of the weight. You can't carry this alone. Let me help you. Kit didn't say anything, just thought, something's really bothering me. She threw open the window, thinking to herself, he clearly knows I'm avoiding him. She looked at the clear blue sky outside. This humid weather. Summer at this mansion has begun. She quickly turned away. I need to go get more. That night at the mansion, Kit was tossing and turning, unable to sleep. It's so hot. Her hand groped the wall. How can I sleep? The room was completely silent. She tiptoed down the stairs. Not a single candle. No wonder it's creepy. It's cold. She threw open the window. Enjoying the cool breeze and the clear moon outside, she smiled cheerfully, her energy returning. I'm alive again. She gazed at the moon in the sky. The moon is so bright tonight. Suddenly, a voice startled her. Hurry up quickly. She looked around to see who it was. Looking down towards the shore, she exclaimed in surprise, What's this? There's someone walking around down by the shore. She panicked. Someone's there. She was stunned, as if struck by lightning. Frightened, she crouched down beneath the window. What is this? Who is that out there so late at night? Is it a villager fishing by moonlight? No way. This is the Baron's territory. She pondered. Could it be someone from the mansion? But who could it be? Someone who's awake in the middle of the night and goes outside. It could only be. She thought about the possibilities. Tom. Doesn't seem right. If so, then Bill. But Bill doesn't seem right either. Only one possibility remains. Ian. Her heart pounded at the thought. That's right. If it's Ian, if it's really him, he's even more suspicious. He's always been so mysterious. She stood up by the window and continued to observe. Does he ever sleep? I can't even imagine what he looks like sleeping. The fresh air had relaxed her, but now her mind was racing again. Sighing with weariness, she thought, I have to stop overthinking. No matter how much I hate that Ian, I'm starting to get as sensitive as I was yesterday. She looked up at the sky. Tomorrow, I'll try to act as normal as possible. Looking down at the shore, she suddenly noticed he was gone. There's no one there. He's gone. She closed the window, telling herself, I need to get a good night's sleep so I can work tomorrow. She walked up the stairs back to her room. At the same time, she heard footsteps thump, thump, ascending the stairs behind her. Daisy saw Kate in her beautiful clothes, wearing a neat hat, and complimented her. Oh, Kate, you look lovely. Kate responded modestly. It's just for some errands. Daisy was even more excited than Kate. You know, I want to go into the village too. Daisy asked her in surprise, but what do you have to do? Kate replied as she turned away. I'm going to check if the books have been delivered. Daisy sighed softly, a little envious of Kate. I want to learn to read too. Kate cheerfully comforted her. Don't worry, I'll teach you. Daisy quickly started laughing again. Well, even some nobles can't read. Daisy carefully reminded Kate, go early and come back early, okay? And don't forget the thing I asked you to buy. Kate cheerfully replied, I know, I'm going. As she opened the door, she saw Ian standing in front of the door, smoking. Hearing the door open, he turned to look back. She gasped, though. Ian stared at her with sharp eyes. She took hesitant steps towards him. She worried silently, afraid. What is this? Why suddenly? Anyway, she was frozen. Should I greet him? I decided to act normal yesterday. What should I say now? Would this be okay? Good morning, Ian. Or how about this? Oh my, Ian, so you're resting here. She quickly dismissed those ideas. No, that would be too rude. She hesitated, unable to even call his name before he turned away. Her hand, outstretched in greeting, froze. She felt crushed. What does normal even mean? She turned sharply and walked away, her face flushed with anger. What's with that indifferent attitude? He's so annoying. Ian continued to puff on his cigarette. He watched Kate follow the path, her figure gradually disappearing into the distance. Ian was also thinking about her. He recalled how she always seemed to have something to say to him every time they met, but never uttered a word. He threw his cigarette to the ground and crushed it under his foot. I have to be careful. The guard asked, You mean the book that Baroness Dale ordered? That book hasn't been delivered yet. Kate was surprised, but hasn't it been a month? He rested his chin on his hand and sighed. There's nothing I can do. There was a problem with the delivery. All mail and parcels are delayed now. She replied cheerfully, Yes, sir. I'll tell the Baroness. Outwardly, she responded cheerfully, but inwardly she worried this is bad. The Baroness was really looking forward to it. She walked out of there, sighing. She wondered, what should I do now? Suddenly she remembered, and the things Daisy and Annis asked for. She walked briskly, feeling a little irritated. My lips are so dry. What was it again? She was trying to remember. Such a strange name. Spring, fresh strawberries. Was that it? Suddenly, something caught her attention. She exclaimed in surprise, Oh, that scarf. Is it the inspector? Kate stared intently at the scarf around the man's neck. A man in this town wearing such a colorful scarf. Who else could it be but that inspector? She tried, but couldn't confirm if it was him. She blamed herself inwardly. It's all because of that outfit that I can't remember his face. She observed him, analyzing as she stood in front of the inn. So he hadn't left town yet. She quietly watched to see what his next move would be. Let's see. Suddenly, he opened the inn door and went inside, surprising her. He disappeared inside. She leaned her head on her hand, thinking, Did I see wrong? Oh, what if that scarf is just in fashion? Suddenly, she realized she'd been wasting her time. What was she doing? She hurried off. Oh, this wasn't the time for this. She had to buy groceries and get back to the mansion. What was this? Back at the mansion, Lady Dale was asking her. They said they would only postpone the delivery date. She bowed her head and replied, Yes, ma'am. As soon as it's delivered, I'll inform you immediately. Lady Dale said gently, Thank you. It's so fortunate to have you here. This happened to catch the eye of Reuter, Lady Dale's close attendant, making her glare at the protagonist with anger and causing her to flinch. Lady Dale sipped her tea leisurely and said, All right, you may go. She quickly replied, Yes, ma'am, and left Lady Dale's room. She gently closed the door and breathed a sigh of relief. As she walked, Reuter's intimidation lingered in her mind. She thought, even if she's trying to control things, I have no intention of taking that position. She was lamenting, This is so tiring, when she suddenly saw Ian exiting a room, closing the door behind him. Surprised, she couldn't help but wonder why he was coming out of there. She approached him and asked, That's Lady Dale's bedroom, isn't it? He coldly replied, It's nothing. I went to the wrong room. She asked again, So where are you going? He calmly answered, The master's bedroom. She looked at him suspiciously. Suspicious. Then she chided herself. I'm probably being too suspicious. He's only been here for half a month. As she turned to leave, she said, The master's room is on the opposite side. Please follow me. He followed behind her. She thought to herself, Right, this is my chance. This time, I have to act normal like everyone else. I'll ask him something. She asked aloud, What did you do before you came here? Inwardly, she praised herself. Good, very natural. Suddenly, Ian walked past her. Surprised, she called out, Ian. He asked, Where have you been? She was taken aback, not quite understanding. What? I was out. I asked where you went. She wondered why he was asking, but she still answered the question. I went to the post office to check if the books Lady Dale ordered had arrived. She asked him, Had you ever heard of that job? Because sometimes the books delivered aren't the right ones. Ian hesitantly asked, You can read. She honestly replied, I can also write. He seemed a little surprised. Did you study to become a governess? She immediately denied it. No. He continued to ask, this being the first time he had spoken to her at such length. So why did you become a maid? Do you want to earn a dowry like other girls? Inwardly, she was annoyed. He can't say anything nice, can he? Outwardly, she remained calm and replied, I don't know. I've never thought about getting married. He asked inquisitively, as if wanting to learn more about her. How can you not think about marriage? She responded innocently, Why? I can live on my own by working. Besides, I've never hated my job. He said, as if in disdain, living by cleaning other people's houses your whole life. He's driving me crazy. She thought, fuming. What in the world does he eat to be so abnormally developed? Turning to him, she spoke with a pointed look. Just what are you planning? You've got some grand scheme to escape your fate as a servant, haven't you? They reached their destination. She pointed to the room ahead. This is the master's room. Please go in. With that, she turned and strode away. Ian watched her go, seemingly annoyed. He stood before the door, lost in thought. A literate young woman, why wouldn't she find better work? Why become a maid just to earn money for a marriage? He recalled their first encounter. There had been something unusual about her from the start. His eyes grew thoughtful. This is the first time anyone's questioned why enter or leave a room. I thought I only needed to be wary of the head maid. He stood between the 2 rows of empty rooms, pondering. Just what is her deal? Ket was diligently cleaning the bedroom. Mike sat on the sofa, leisurely sipping tea. He drawled, "Well, hello there." Hearing his voice, she grimaced, but forced a friendly smile as she turned. "Good day, young master." Turning away, her face contorted in disgust. Pathetic. I could tell he was out partying all night before dragging himself back here. He asked, "How long have you been working in this house?" Wondering what he was getting at, she hugged the blanket and turned back to him. "A little over 2 years now, sir." He leered. "Aren't you about to get married?" Inwardly seething at yet another person bringing this up, she plastered on a smile. "Not at the moment, sir." He looked skeptical. "Really? I thought all the maids wanted to get married." She explained, "I still enjoy my work, sir." He leered. "Is that so?" He moved closer, startling her. "How about a little fun then?" His lips moved towards hers. Her eyes widened in fear. "What?" She squeezed her eyes shut, using the blanket as a shield, screaming internally, "No, not a kiss from this creep." Suddenly, the door slammed open, making them both jump and look towards the entrance. Ian stood in the doorway, staring at them. He just stood there, frozen, looking back and forth between Ket and Mike. Mike scolded, "What's the matter with you? Have you no manners?" Ket's eyes welled up, silently pleading, "Please, just show your lack of manners and leave." She mouthed the words, "Help me." To him, it looked like she was pouting. He set his belongings on the table and quickly left. "My apologies for the intrusion." He slammed the door shut. Ket silently screamed, "No." Mike chuckled. "That guy's pretty perceptive, huh?" Ket was on the verge of tears. "No, don't go." Her limbs went weak with fear. "Why are they all such jerks?" Trembling, she said, "Young master." Her eyes blazed with anger. Her words startled him. "I still have a lot to do. If you don't need anything else, I'll excuse myself." He quickly stepped aside to let her pass. "Oh, of course." She swiftly brushed past him. "Then I'll take my leave." Once free of that place, she ran like the wind. She sped down the corridor between the rows of rooms. In a flash, she flew up the stairs. She saw him and called out, "Ian." He calmly asked, as if nothing was amiss, "What's wrong?" Suddenly, his hand shot up. He caught the cushion she threw at him. He said coldly, "Want me to hold something else?" She yelled furiously, "Not that." She was practically steaming. "How could you just leave me there like that?" He asked innocently. "Where?" She hesitated. "Well." The surrounding servants, curious about the two of them, began to gossip. Noticing this, she grabbed his hand and pulled him along. "Come with me." She opened a storage room door and pulled him inside. Once in, she slammed the door shut, hands on her hips, fuming. He seemed a little intimidated by her demeanor, gulping nervously. As he stepped closer, she instinctively stopped him. "Wait a minute. It's cramped in here, so don't move." He responded calmly, his voice laced with a challenge. "You're the one who pulled me in here." He sighed in boredom. "Just say it already." She snapped, "You," seething inwardly. Who was the one complaining just now? Suddenly, the close proximity caused her to lash out, punching him in the stomach. He let out a pained gasp. "Ouch!" She recoiled in surprise. "Oh, are you okay?" Rubbing his stomach, he said, "You're quite skilled at picking a small, cramped place like this to try and kill me." Annoyed, she retorted, "I had no intention of killing anyone here." He asked, "Then what was that about?" She exclaimed, "I'm talking about what happened earlier." He asked what happened earlier. She was about to explode. "Are you pretending to be clueless now?" He glanced away and replied casually, "Oh, that." He goaded her, "So, what did you want me to do?" She reproached him, "At least you didn't have to leave so quickly." It was a very awkward situation. He justified his hasty retreat. "I know what an awkward situation is, but what if you two were just there to have a private conversation?" She was speechless. Before she could utter a word, he continued, "Besides, whether I helped or not, you got out of there safely. I didn't need to stay there and be resented." She was completely dumbfounded, rendered speechless. She lamented inwardly. How can someone like this even exist? Her hands clenched in frustration. He's right, painfully right. I have nothing to say back. But still, you jerk. She questioned him. So you could just leave like that? He suddenly stepped towards her, startling her. She stumbled back. Her head accidentally bumped against something on the shelf. Ouch, he smirked, seemingly pleased with her misfortune. Serve you right. Angry, frustrated, and embarrassed, tears welled up in her eyes. What are you smirking about? He reached for the door, about to leave. She shifted uncomfortably in the cramped space, bumping against him. He clicked his tongue and glanced at her. He lingered at the door, saying a few words. In the future, if a similar situation arises, instead of expecting help from others, it would be better if you were careful so you don't end up in that situation again. She stared blankly at him, asking, "What do you mean?" He spoke bluntly, so she would understand. "I mean, when you're alone with a man, and you don't seem to have any guard up." She let out a small sound, now understanding his meaning. Last time she was alone with him, she also didn't have her guard up. It's just that he wasn't a creep like Mike. She was exhausted and silently complained, feeling utterly defeated. "I really messed up this time." That night, lying in bed, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She sat up abruptly. Why does it get so unbearably hot at night? She looked over at Daisy and saw that she was fast asleep, her blanket kicked off the bed. She pulled the blanket back over Daisy, then tiptoed down the stairs. This was becoming a habit. She opened the window, as she often did. The air was humid. It's going to rain sooner or later. Suddenly, she looked around in bewilderment. Is anyone there? The waves lapped against the shore. She watched the ocean and sighed. A sudden call startled her. "What are you doing?" Kate, frightened, put a finger to her lips, shushing, and came up beside her. "Kate, it's me." She breathed a sigh of relief. "Oh, it's you, and you scared me," and laughed. "Why were you so startled?" Kate grumbled. "I thought you were a ghost. Would you not be startled in this situation?" And then Kate sat down on the floor and said with delight, "The floor is so nice and cool." Outside the window, the wind rustled. Kate asked him, "Why did you come out here?" She replied with a smile, "I was tossing and turning because it was so hot, and then I heard someone walking in the hallway." Kate softly acknowledged this with a small "ah," thinking to herself, "Of course, I'm not the only one who came out here because it's hot." She clasped her hands on her knees and then looked at him. "And it must be hard for you. Working in the kitchen is really tough." She continued, "Let's sit here for a bit and then go back inside," and nodded in agreement. "Okay." And his gaze was fixed on the window, watching the starry sky, and asked Kate, "How many years have you been here?" Kate replied, "This is my second year working here," and cheerfully added, "Same here. I've been working here for almost 3 years now." She seemed to slump slightly, sighing. Why does time fly by so fast? Kate was also lost in thought, and Daisy has only been here for a year. She glanced at him, besides Mrs. Roeder and the head butler, and "You've been here the longest," and recounted how the maids at the mansion quit quickly and strangely. Not long ago, 2 male servants had also quit. She turned to Kate. "You absolutely must not leave quietly without saying anything." Kate replied with an innocent laugh. "I would never just leave without saying anything," and still seemed very serious about this. "Why not? Someone ran away for love before. How can we be sure you won't do the same?" Kate, amused by her expression, asked, "Run away for love?" "Me," and remained serious, probing, "I'm serious. Do you like anyone right now?" Kate seemed intimidated by her serious demeanor. "I'm not surprised at all." She wondered why, outwardly remaining calm. Maybe because no one's caught her eye yet, and, as if angry, yelled at her, "There's Ian." That Ian. Kate, startled, quickly stopped her. "Shh, and be quiet." She covered Anne's mouth to prevent her excitement from being noticed, and gave an embarrassed laugh and whispered, "I'm sorry." Kate simply hummed in acknowledgement. She reassured in, "Anyway, it'll never happen. Running away for love. Don't worry," and still fixated on Ian. But why? Even if it's Ian, she wondered aloud, why is everyone so infatuated with him? That Ian. I don't see anything great about him. Perhaps in Anne's eyes, this Ian was a prince from some foreign land. She stopped talking about him and began to talk about her own circumstances. "My parents, they ran away for love," and exclaimed in surprise, "What?" She continued, "They cut ties with their families. So after my mother died, I should have been taken care of by my family, but I couldn't find them," and looked at her sympathetically. "This is the first time I've heard this," and asked both of them. She quietly replied, "Yes." As she recounted this, a trace of sadness lingered on her face. "I don't know about my father. I heard he was a wandering artist. That's why my mother's family strongly opposed it. They just ran away for their love, and then I was born." And let out a no. She quickly regained her smile and asked him, "So, looking at me, do I seem like the type to run away?" And just sat silently, looking at her. Kate laughed. "Ha. So, you're planning to run away with someone, right?" And laughed along with her. "No way. If I did that, I wouldn't get my dowry." It seemed like I was about to say something about Ian. Suddenly, a loud shout startled them both. "What are you doing, you idiot?" The shout echoed in the night. "Do it properly," and turned to Ket, fearfully whispering, "What was that?" Ket, though also scared, remained calm. "It doesn't sound like it came from inside the mansion." The two of them looked out the window, peering around. A dark figure darted past below. Ket pointed, telling it over there. But when they looked again, the person was gone and was bewildered, having seen nothing. Ket exclaimed in alarm. They disappeared. She thought to herself, "Did I see things?" and asked, "What was that?" Ket replied, "I don't know," and wondered, "Were they night fishermen?" Ket was surprised. Night fishermen. She thought to herself, "This is a restricted area, isn't it?" She recalled previous incidents. "Didn't I see this a few days ago, too?" And even before that inspector left, she wondered if it was a coincidence that these furtive nighttime activities kept happening right after the inspector, who was investigating recent incidents, had left. She couldn't help but wonder, what was that inspector investigating? She looked at him. Should I tell him about this? And seemed to lose interest. She called to Ket. "Let's go back inside." Ket decided not to tell him. She simply replied, "Okay." Ket went inside, but her eyes kept drifting back to the window. "This feels unsettling." Suddenly, it began to rain. The rain poured down heavily. Daisy quickly grabbed the blankets and mattress drying outside, groaning, "Oh, I have to wash them again." She teased, "Ironically, you never wash them anyway." Daisy, embarrassed, corrected herself, we'll have to wash them a second time later." Suddenly, the postman opened the door and asked, "Do you girls know where the housekeeper is?" Daisy, holding the rain-soaked bedding, replied, "How would we know?" She asked back, "Why are you looking for the housekeeper?" He hurriedly turned away, saying, "Rain is leaking into the house." Daisy was startled upon hearing this and dropped the pile of bedding, exclaiming, "Oh." She quickly ran off. Ket called after her, "Daisy," the mattress. Daisy left Ket, standing there dumbfounded. "I'm going to get scolded," Ket thought. Daisy returned, shocked, and told Ket, "Our room is surrounded by water." Ket, upon hearing this, was also stunned and dropped what she was holding. "What?" "Everything in the room is soaked." The two maids gaped at the sight before them. The head maid exclaimed, hand on her cheek, oh dear me. I suppose you won't be able to sleep here for a while." Water dripped from the ceiling, plip, plop, onto the floor. Daisy angrily asked, "Seriously, who fixed the roof last time?" Smith Ket sighed, thinking, "We made a mistake sleeping here." The head maid asked, "Are there any other leaks?" Gil hesitated. "Yes, over there." The little girl pointed to her room, which was also drenched. "Just like Daisy and Smith Ket's room, ours is too." The housekeeper arrived and asked, "What's going on? What happened?" The head maid reported the situation. "The double rooms on that side are unusable." "What about the men's rooms?" Daisy and Smith Ket whispered to each other, noticing something odd about the housekeeper. Ugh, the smell of alcohol. Tom suddenly appeared and reported, "Only one double room on the men's side is wet, ma'am." The housekeeper stroked his chin thoughtfully. "So, we still have 2 usable double rooms on the men's side, right?" Daisy and Smith Ket, listening nearby, began to suspect something. "Wait a minute, don't tell me." The head maid spoke up. "No way. Tonight, the 4 girls from this side will sleep there." The 2 girls' expressions changed drastically after hearing the head maid's words. Smith Ket looked devastated. Ugh. Daisy, on the other hand, brightened up. "Yay." The housekeeper said, "But first, someone needs to climb up and fix the roof to prevent further leaks." He instructed Bill. Bill awkwardly refused. My back is kind of sore." Daisy whispered in Smith Ket's ear, "I bet Ian is sleeping in the next room right now." She thought to herself, "That sounds awful. Not romantic at all." The housekeeper asked, "So, Ian, what about you?" The 2 girls immediately fell silent and looked towards Ian. The housekeeper continued, "Have you ever fixed a roof before?" Ian seriously replied, "No, sir." The housekeeper asked again, "So, you've climbed onto a roof before, right?" Ian replied without hesitation, "I can climb up." The 2 head maids clapped their hands together, deciding on Ian. "Good. Then Ian will temporarily find a way to fix the roof. I'll call a repairman as soon as the rain lets up. Everyone, quickly finish your work. Let's move." Daisy listlessly obeyed. Outside, the rain poured relentlessly. Ian climbed onto the roof without much difficulty, but fixing it would be a challenge. Looking at the damaged sections, he thought, "I can't believe I have to do this. This is so boring." Suddenly, he heard a scream. Ian looked down from his vantage point, listening to the conversation below. "It's that guy again." Inside the head maid's house, the situation was unclear. "What's going on?" she asked. "Tom looks awful." Jill looked at the head maid frantically. "Tom was helping me lift the bucket when suddenly, someone appeared from behind the wall, peeking around. "What? Tom again? Why?" The head maid sighed. Good heavens, Tom. You've been so quiet these last few days. She rearranged some things and then ordered Daisy, please help me clean up this mess. Yes, ma'am. And you, she continued, go get a towel for Ian. He's been out in the weather, so make him some hot tea as well. Kate was startled. Huh. The sudden situation left everyone flustered. Daisy, can't you go? Ian, I want to do that job. I'll go. Bill snorted with laughter at Kate's distress. Why me? The head maid was resolute. I said Kate. Kate resignedly accepted. Fine. Daisy and Jill exchanged sighs. Raindrops beat against the window, making loud popping sounds. Ian entered, shaking the water from his clothes. Kate and Ian made eye contact. Here, wipe yourself down, she said. We just cleaned the floor, so don't make it dirty again. Meanwhile, she thought to herself, he looks like some evil sorcerer appearing to curse some faraway land. Looking Ian up and down, soaked as he was, Kate continued her internal judgment. His drenched appearance makes him look not only dangerous, but also gloomy. She handed him the towel, accidentally brushing his hand. Startled, she recoiled. Goodness, his hand is freezing, just like a sorcerer. Kate's face paled. No, he's human. She reassured herself. Human. A servant. Kate politely placed a cup of hot tea on the table for him. Ian, please have some tea. She turned back, but he was gone. Where did he go? Ian had already left. Slightly annoyed, Kate muttered, he never listens anyway. She took the tea to where Ian had gone. Ian, she inadvertently saw him changing his clothes. Her jaw dropped. Oh, Ian, noticing her embarrassment, stepped out and blocked the doorway. Standing close, facing her, he asked irritably, is this a habit of yours? Kate was confused. Ian continued his verbal assault, just waltzing into a man's room without a care in the world. She thought, what does he mean? Embarrassed, Kate pursed her lips. Humph, he thinks. Does he think I'm an idiot? What the? Ian stared at Kate. This girl, she needs to understand how dangerous this situation is. His green eyes occasionally locked with hers. Growing more irritated, Ian asked loudly, what is it this time? Kate flinched. He repeated, I asked what you're holding. She carefully replied, the head maid made you some hot tea. Kate examined Ian's eyes. They seemed to be turning red, but his expression is blank. Ian opened the door slightly and took the tea from Kate. If there's nothing else, I'll be closing the door now. Kate stared at Ian, suddenly feeling more flustered than before. Annoyed, she quickly left. I'm going crazy. I'm really going crazy. I need to cool down. Now I understand why both and Daisy are smitten with him. As she walked away, her steps faltered and her cheeks burned. Kate leaned wearily against the wall. I think I need some iced tea. Inside the room, the rain against the window softened to a gentle patter. I took a sip of tea and hesitated. Wasn't it supposed to be hot tea? This is like iced tea. Outside, everyone continued their work. Tom carried a pile of white blankets. What about these blankets? Daisy asked, how many do we have? Tom replied, only 2. Daisy pondered, but there are 4 people. She was troubled. We'll have to make do. Take these to the other room. Tom patted Daisy's back comfortingly. I'll put them on the bed for you, he said. Daisy could only mutter to herself, I hate being cold too, you know. Annoyed, and strode out of room 2. Honestly, she said, glancing cheerfully at Hung, turns out the boys' room isn't much different. But there aren't any blankets left, are there? Ket said, the other rooms only have the beds intact. All the blankets are soaked. An offer to help. Let me see if there are any spares. Ket expressed her gratitude. Thanks. With all this rain, I can't understand what's going on. And paused, then wondered aloud. But come to think of it, last night those men were fishing in the rain anyway. Ket was startled about that and noticed Ket's strange expression. What's wrong? Everything suddenly got serious. The door slowly closed with a whoosh and approached. What's the matter? Ket held up a hand to stop her. Did you tell anyone about that? She asked cautiously, and in turn, questioned Ket. No, not at all. Why? What's wrong? Ket instructed, then don't tell anyone, okay? One was puzzled. Why? Ket was trying to make something up. Well, remember how that area was off limits because it was too dangerous to fish there. And covered her mouth, remembering. Oh yeah, that's right. Now that I think about it, that's the no fishing zone. Ket gave a forced laugh, trying to convince him. Yeah, so don't go talking about it. If the boss finds out, I'll get in trouble. And seemed to believe Ket. Right, you're right. She left to help Ket find blankets. I got it. I'll go look for some blankets now. Ket sighed in relief after and closed the door. Phew. Kit thought to herself, it's a good thing and let that go so easily. I can't let her worry about it. She pulled herself together, hands on her hips. Right, let's get things organized. Outside the door, someone was talking. That's what I'm saying about Tom. Kit groaned. Ugh. She looked at her dirty hands after organizing everything. My hands. She wiped the dirt off with a dry cloth and tossed it away. Anyway, Kit felt something was amiss because it had been gone too long and still isn't back. Strange. If there weren't any, she would have come back to tell me. Kit continued her work, her footsteps echoing on the stairs. Carrying the pile of blankets, she was surprised to see him with Ian and looked quite cheerful. Ah, Kit breathed. Where have you been? Ian, noticing Kit coming down the stairs, stifled a laugh. Kit approached and asked, and were there no blankets left? And was startled and looked at her flustered. Oh, right. There weren't any left. I'm sorry. Suddenly, and noticed something. Huh. She quickly grabbed her apron and wiped Kit clean. Goodness, Kit, did you just crawl out of chimney? Kit heard another stifled laugh from Ian. Confused, she said, huh? Seeing Ian's feigned ignorance, Kit was angry, but only cursed him under her breath. So that's why he was laughing. She forced a cheerful smile for Ian. Thanks. I'll go put these rags away now. She reassured herself. It's not embarrassing. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Penelope watched Ian walk away, step by step. Even though he had left, she kept turning her head back, wondering what they had talked about. Neither of them seemed like the type to chat with each other. Something felt unusual at the mansion. Everyone seemed to have fallen asleep. Penelope opened her eyes after hearing a rustling sound. A snap, then silence. A cold draft made Penelope shiver. So cold, her whole body trembled. It must have been from the rain. Yesterday was so hot. Penelope closed her eyes tightly, pulling the blanket higher. She wanted to sleep. Suddenly, a loud creak from the door caught her attention. She couldn't help but feel uneasy when she heard a thumping sound. A thumping from somewhere. What was going on in the middle of the night? Her eyes were blurry and vacant from sleepiness, but she couldn't fall back asleep. Who would be walking around so carefully? She kept thinking. Was a maid sneaking off to meet someone? But that room was further inside. How strange. The next morning, Daisy shook her awake. Penelope, wake up, Penelope. She slowly sat up, rubbing her eyes. Daisy asked. Penelope, you didn't use a blanket. You slept with just that thin sheet. Weren't you cold? Penelope leaned closer to Daisy. Huh, there was a blanket. Where? Daisy, braiding her hair, said it's at your feet. Bill went to get it for you last night. Penelope stared blankly as Daisy walked out the door. Click. Suddenly, Daisy slammed the door and yelled, "Oh my, mother." Penelope, startled, asked what's wrong. Daisy, astonished, didn't dare approach. Ian is standing out there. Penelope was confused. So, what's the big deal? Daisy, embarrassed and worried about her appearance, said, What do you mean, what's the big deal? I haven't washed my face yet, Penelope. Penelope sighed, seeing the girl's fear of looking bad in front of a boy. Penelope, unconcerned, said, Move aside, let me through. Daisy tried to stop her. No, Penelope, you can't. Just as Penelope grabbed the doorknob and opened the door, click, Daisy yelled, Ah. The moment the door opened, both of them acted simultaneously. Ian raised his hand to knock, and Penelope poked her head out, receiving a knock from his hand. Penelope stumbled backward. Ian tried to catch her, but he was too late. Penelope fell with a thud. Ouch! Ouch! Daisy rushed to Penelope's side. Oh! Penelope, having received a blow to the head from Ian, felt a pang of pain. She groaned softly. Ow! Ian started to say something, but stopped. Penelope, furious, said, What are you just standing there for? She tried to get up, but a sharp pain shot through her, making her cry out and grit her teeth. The headmaid appeared just then, breaking the tense atmosphere. What's going on here? Curious onlookers started to gather around Penelope's room. The headmaid called out to her, Penelope. Daisy helped Penelope onto the bed. Embarrassed, Penelope didn't dare look up, only whimpering, Oh, I want to die. Why is everyone here? The headmaid shooed everyone away. If there's nothing to see, then get back to work. Penelope, are you all right? What happened? Penelope said it was just an accident. But in her mind, she wanted to say that Ian pushed me. The headmaid pulled back Penelope's sleeve to examine the bruised area on her shoulder. That looks painful. Penelope moaned softly. The headmaid sighed. Well, we're short-handed today. You should rest this morning. The headmaid then turned to Ian, who immediately straightened his posture. Penelope quietly pulled her sleeve back over her shoulder. The head maid gave Ian a task. Go to the village and check if the doctor is available. If he is, invite him here. Ian nodded in agreement without protest. The head maid sighed. Someone like Ian. In all my years, I've never met someone so quiet. My anger wasn't enough. He even injured my shoulder like this. I definitely won't let him off the hook. A moment later, Ket's stomach rumbled loudly. Grumble, grumble. Is it breakfast time already? Ket sat up, wincing from the lingering pain. A sharp pain shot through the wound Ian had caused. That damn Ian. He didn't even apologize. Anger surged through her. She clenched her fists and muttered, seriously, nothing good comes from getting involved with him. I can't possibly like him. Suddenly, someone knocked on her door. Knock, knock. Ket joyfully got up to open the door. Is it you, Daisy? Oh, thank goodness. I'm starving. The moment the door opened, she saw Ian standing there. Ket's expression immediately darkened. What do you want? She thought, why do I keep running into him? She started to taunt him. Did you regret not breaking my shoulder this morning? So you're here to finish the job. Ian placed a tray of food on the wooden table beside her bed. Ket was taken aback. Breakfast. But Ian cut her off. I apologize. Ian hesitated for a moment, then quickly approached her. Ket was confused. What? What is it? What's going on? Why are you? Ian pulled back Ket's clothes to check her shoulder again. Ket blushed. What are you doing? Ian said, I will fully compensate you for your injuries later. Ket was still puzzled. What? She thought, is this his way of apologizing? She immediately grabbed his hand. About that, Ian asked, what is it? Ket replied, thank you for bringing me food. Ian clarified, I was just following orders. Ket's expression soured at his response. I knew it. She questioned him. You could have asked someone else, couldn't you? Ian hesitated. Did no one tell you? Ket asked, tell me what? Ian continued, well, it's true. I suppose everyone is too busy. Your kitchen maid, has disappeared. Ket froze, completely still. And you said it disappeared. Ian confirmed, yes. Ket rushed past him to Anne's room to check. She flung the door open. Ket was worried, unsure of what was happening. Everything is still here. Nothing's different from before she left. Ian spoke up. We don't know where she went either. He stood behind Ket as she turned to face him. Ian continued. Someone said it seems she ran away last night. Ket asked who said that. Ian replied, the head maid. She didn't understand. Ran away. Why? Remembering their happy times together, Ket couldn't believe and would leave. No way. Last night, she told me herself that if she left, she wouldn't receive her dowry. Ket felt a pang of disappointment. So, it was just a late-night conversation fueled by girlish emotions. Back in the kitchen, after hearing Ian's story, Ket asked the others, didn't she say anything to you? Daisy shook her head. The head chef scolded them. Is this a time to be slacking off? Ket and Daisy quickly went back to work. It's true, we're short-staffed. The head maid came in to check on the situation. How are things going? She immediately started complaining. Now, with only one person who knows how to cook, what am I supposed to do? Daisy grumbled. That Daisy is a real witch, and probably ran away because of her. Ket listened without saying anything. The head maid asked, Ket, you were the last person to talk to him yesterday, right? Ket softly replied, yes. The head maid inquired, didn't say anything to you. Ket thought, talked to him. Our last conversation. She reported, no, ma'am. She only talked about finding blankets for me and Daisy. The head maid said, all right, I understand. You can continue your work, and then left. At that moment, Ket gasped, remembering something. She bit her finger, thinking back. The last person to talk to him wasn't me. It was Ian. I didn't think much of it at the time, but just like Daisy, and also had feelings for Ian. As her hands worked, her mind raced, but enough to run away. Remembering Anne's smiling face, countless questions flooded her mind. Why did I have to leave? Did she have a boyfriend? But I didn't see any signs. I always thought she liked Ian. But could there be another man? Someone who could make her give up the dowry? I wonder if she went into the village. The existence of this other man is also a mystery. If not, then a voice interrupted Ket's thoughts. I'll go check if the food is ready now. Startled, Ket dropped a ladle with a clang. She could only conclude the last man who spoke to him is also the one she secretly admired. Daisy, picking up the ladle, saw Ket's bewildered expression. Ket, are you okay? The head chef, already angry, yelled impatiently, good heavens, you useless lot. Hurry up and pour me some honey. The head chef continued to grumble. Ket could only obey. Yes, ma'am. After her deductions, she worried. It's just a coincidence, right? It can't be anything special. The worst-case scenario is that Ian's confession failed, so he temporarily went to the village. Ket comforted herself. He'll be back. The next day, in Daisy and Ket's bedroom, Daisy said, it's been a day and she hasn't come back. She must have really run away. Ket wondered, but why would she run away? Daisy picked up a wooden comb from the top of the wardrobe. I don't know. Maybe she ran off with some guy from Moon Village. Daisy carefully combed her hair. None of the madam's belongings are missing, so it's not like she stole anything and ran away, right? Ket argued, and isn't that kind of person. Daisy said, who knows? Once you fall in love, people can change a lot. Ket asked innocently, are you serious? Daisy thought, she's so naive. She explained further, I mean, there are a lot of reasons we don't know about. Ket hugged Anne's yellow powder box tightly. So that's how it is. Ket trailed off, lost in thought. I still haven't given in her compact, and she asked me to hold on to it, too. It's clear she left without any warning. Her room is exactly the same. Clothes still neatly hung in the closet. The only thing missing is a little of Anne's spending money. What could have made him leave so suddenly, so urgently? Ket heard Daisy's voice and snapped out her thoughts. Oh, right. Sorry. Huh? What for? Daisy asked. Yesterday, I was so busy I didn't bring you breakfast, Ket explained. Daisy, it's okay. Don't worry about it. She quickly added with a smile. It's already yesterday's news. That's Daisy for you, Ket reassured her. It's fine. Someone brought me breakfast yesterday anyway. Oh, Daisy sounded surprised. Really? I thought everyone was too busy and forgot. Who was it? Ket asked, equally surprised. I mean Ian. Didn't someone tell him to bring it to me? What? No, Daisy denied. No one told him anything. Everyone was too busy to even think about it. Ket, in the span of a few hours, had been hit with one surprise after another. What was going on? Both settled comfortably in their beds, continuing their conversation. Anyway, Ian brought you breakfast yesterday, right? That's nice, Ket said. Yeah, it was, Daisy replied, reaching up to turn off the lights. I'm turning off the lights, Ket. Okay, Ket mumbled. The room darkened as Daisy shifted towards her bed. But Ket, do you really not like Ian even a little bit? Ket's face twisted with annoyance. He did this to my shoulder. How could I possibly like him? She wanted to say more, but hesitated. But you hate Chu OC too, don't you? Ket, growing increasingly irritated, turned away. He just annoys me in every way. Every way? Daisy asked. Ket seized the opportunity to vent her frustrations about Ian. Well, like the way he always looks down on us. He never even talks to us. It's so infuriating. Daisy hadn't realized Ket disliked Ian so much. Ket had never even spoken harshly about the housekeeper before. It was strange. Ket grew more animated as she spoke, turning fully towards Daisy. Have you ever seen him smile? He always has that same sullen expression, glancing around, acting like he's so important. Daisy stared, wide-eyed at Ket's outburst. Did you know? He sneaks out every morning to smoke alone. Then he just frowns and avoids everyone. Daisy listened to Ket's complaints about Ian for a long while before responding. You really pay attention to him? Huh. Ket seemed surprised. Huh. Daisy hesitated, then said, you say you hate him, but you know he never smiles. I didn't even know he smoked. Ket's expression remained unchanged, but her mind raced. It was true. She had been paying a lot of attention to him. Really? But for someone I hate, I should just pretend he doesn't exist. Why do I even care so much? Daisy suddenly asked, are you pretending not to like Ian? Ket immediately sat up. What? Daisy was frustrated by Ket's contradictory statements. If not, why do you pay so much attention to him? Ket avoided Daisy's gaze. Without another word, Daisy turned her back to Ket and went to sleep. Ket stared at Daisy, but didn't offer an explanation. As the sky grew dark, Ket felt restless. Rustle, rustle, rustle. She walked from inside the room towards the door. Creak, creak. Ket slumped, her face downcast at the foot of the stairs. Lost in thought, she hadn't expected Daisy to react that way. Daisy had been quite harsh. Her eyes drifted towards the window, her mind restless. She thought she had one less rival since and left, but unexpectedly, she was now troubled because of her own actions. Ket ruffled her hair. Ugh, I hate this kind of drama. Ket recalled the past. Daisy was a good person, but overly possessive. She could understand, as Daisy had grown up in an orphanage, a place where the concept of personal belongings was absent. Ket felt melancholic. We only seem to get along when things are good. Right now, I find her irritating. Should I switch rooms? Ket looked up at the sky through the large window opposite her. And why did you leave? I have to admit, my words didn't affect you at all. Whatever the reason, even though I don't know why you left without a word, you're gone now. Wherever you go, you must live happily. Near the stairs, Ian, from behind the wall, noticed Ket sitting pensively facing the window. The moonlight gently illuminated Ket's flowing hair, making it shine like gold. It caught Ian's attention. Is that and he wondered, peeking. Ket's beauty unintentionally caught Ian's eye. He froze, transfixed for a long moment. Only when Ket started to move did Ian turn away. It's nothing. I just mistook her for someone else. He watched Ket return her room, then noticed her bare feet. Wait, Ian thought to himself, this is a wooden floor. Isn't she afraid of splinters? Ian stood there for a moment, arms crossed. What does this have to do with me? The next morning, they continued their work as usual. Ian rhythmically stomped his feet in the wooden laundry tub. While Kit diligently stomped, Daisy began to complain. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to fall. She looked at Ian with a pleading expression. Ian, could you hold my hand for a moment? Ian, seeing her plight, took her hand without a word, making Daisy even more excited. Bill, seeing Daisy's happy expression, blurted out, what a lovely couple. Why don't you two go on a date? Tom kindly asked Ket, do you need any help, Ket? Ket cheerfully declined. It's okay, but she didn't quite trust him. I'm a little uneasy about Tom. Tom gently took her hand, but because there was a wet rug nearby, Tom tripped, pulling Ket down with him. Ket fell on top of Tom. Both of them groaned. Mio, hearing the commotion, exclaimed, oh my, and burst into laughter. I knew it. Daisy just watched, saying and doing nothing. Ket was mortified. Oh no, not again. Tom, flustered, tried to help her up. Sorry, Ket. Ket, fearing another mishap, stopped him. Wait, don't move. I can get up if you stay still. Suddenly, something lifted Ket off of Tom. Ian lifted Ket in a princess carry, leaving her stunned and blushing. In front of everyone, he calmly carried her inside. She struggled and cried out, hey, what are you doing? Bill simply uttered, oh, and watched the two of them, their faces strangely close. Kate looked on unhappily as they left. She struggled in Ian's arms. Put me down quickly. Ian calmly replied, you're too wet. It won't work. Kate asked, confused, aren't you wet too? Ian said seriously, you don't need to worry about that. Kate thought, what's going on here? The sunlight illuminated Ian's handsome face. His expression made Kate blush. She thought, I think I'm starting to understand why I've always been so aware of him. Kate thought to herself, Ian is like a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. If he finds a weakness, no one knows what he'll do. He's dangerous. A well-fed predator is safe, but the scary thing is you never know if it's full or not. Once inside, Kate hesitantly said, we're inside now. You can put me down. Ian said, if you step down now, won't you dirty the floor you just mopped? Kate couldn't believe her ears. She silently accepted his logic. He seemed to be in a good mood. Ian continued, put on your maid uniform. As she walked down the hallway, someone opened a door and stepped out. Kate thought, he carried me up 3 flights of stairs without even taking a break. What did he do before coming to this mansion? She decided to ask, were you a mercenary? Ian turned around at her question. She continued, you must have been. An ordinary servant couldn't be this strong. Ian replied, an ordinary servant, how so? Seeing his serious expression, Kate panicked. Oh no, she thought, and quickly tried to recover. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. He responded, I don't think a maid like you would use those words. Ian said again, well, that's right. Kate thought, I guess I'll just have to humbly accept that. I misspoke this time. I wonder if he can hear my thoughts. She mused, Muyella is a nation that rejects anything related to magic. Mercenaries here are recognized as soldiers and receive better treatment than in any other country. Of course, knights receive even more. That's why the most prominent soldiers from across the continent gather in the capital, Muyella. But there's no reason for a knight to work as a servant, she wondered. You're so physically fit, why not become a mercenary? She voiced her thoughts. He countered, why should someone physically fit become a mercenary? She replied, don't all young men aspire to be soldiers rather than servants? Or are you afraid I'll keep asking? He bluntly replied, don't talk nonsense. Annoyed by his coldness, she muttered, why does everything you say sound so stupid? Suddenly, Tom appeared and said, I'm surprised too. You carried Kate all the way up here without a break. He spoke cheerfully, while Kate glared at him threateningly as she approached. What do you mean by that? Oh, no. I didn't mean you're heavy. It's just that carrying someone upstairs isn't easy, even if it's only 2 floors, he stammered, trying to explain. That's true, Kate agreed. Suddenly, she bumped her head. Ouch, she exclaimed. Ian, why are the servants' rooms in this mansion located under the roof? The person in front asked. Ket rubbed her nose. As far as I know, servants' quarters are usually in the basement, Ian replied. Originally, my room was in the basement, but many years ago, they wanted to expand the storage room. So all the servants' rooms were moved to the attic, Ket explained. They built a storage room. Ian muttered. They leveled all the servants' rooms to make one big storage room and built a bunch of new rooms under the roof, Ket continued. Wow, Ket, you know this place so well, Tom praised. My mother used to work here, Ket said. Really? So your mother lived here? The young man asked. No, she worked here and then went back to the village. Mid-sentence, Kit bumped into Ian. Back to the village. You mean everyone goes back home? Ian asked. Well, except for a few, Kit replied, thinking he's talking a lot today. She was about to say something when someone yelled, Ian, Tom, why aren't you serving the food yet? Yes, sir, right away. Tom hurried off. Ian also turned and left, leaving Kit alone with her curiosity. What was that all about? She wondered, looking at the empty hallway. What does it matter where the servants' rooms are? She thought, but there are a lot of strange things. Normally, if you want to expand storage, you'd build outside the mansion. But the Baron and Baroness built the storage in the basement and moved the servants under the roof. It's so complicated. Not to mention, building rooms for the servants is much more expensive than building external storage. Kit was suspicious. What kind of master worries about these things? They take in orphans and prepare dowries for all the maids to get married. But many people have said that even if they sneak away at night or receive the dowry, they can't seem to go anywhere. Kit remained puzzled. I'll observe this more closely, she decided. The Baron's friends are expected to visit in 2 days. There will be about 5 of them, so please clean the guest rooms, the butler announced. Wait a minute, someone spoke up. There's only 1 person working in the kitchen, and 5 guests are coming. The head chef complained. It's all right. They'll only be here for a few days, the butler said smoothly. Even if it's just 1 day, that's still 3 meals and an afternoon tea. How do you expect me to handle all of that alone? She retorted. In that case, we'll probably call in some people from the village to help. It's usually like this when we have guests, the butler said. Kit thought, but this mansion is always empty. You'll find me a kitchen helper, right? The head chef asked. The butler sighed. I'm looking, I said. It's just temporary, but he turned to Kit. Kit, please do your best until we find someone new. He assigned Kit kitchen duty. She could only accept the order with a heavy heart. No wonder I had a bad feeling. This is going to be tough. Be strong, she told herself. Yes, sir. Will there be any male helpers? Bill asked. No, Bill. It's just the 3 of you, the butler replied. So we have to escort them, right? Bill continued. Yes, that's right, the butler said. And what about the rooms? As the two were talking, Kit suddenly realized something. So, can I use his room? Daisy spoke up. Kit, hearing this, turned around in astonishment. Could yesterday's issue still be unresolved? She wondered. After all, Kit wasn't using that room anyway. So, I'll use it, she decided. Kit gritted her teeth in frustration. I can't believe he could be so mean, she thought. Let's see which rooms are available. I guess I'll have to use the leaky one. It's supposed to rain for another week. This is so difficult. I can't ask the guests at the inn to move, the housekeeper worried. Ian suggested, don't we have a children's room? I thought of that, but it hasn't been used in 15 years. Well, since you're a servant anyway, why don't you just stay at the inn? The housekeeper proposed. No, he flatly refused. Kit is just being difficult. It's not our concern if the guest refuses, he said. Our concern. Kit was startled to hear him say that. If the stable hand stays at the inn, there are still 5 people without rooms, right? So, I and 4 others could stay in the children's room for a few days, Ian suggested. Daisy was surprised. Kit thought, so the people in that room will be the 2 trainee maids, Ian and me. Can you all sleep there? The housekeeper asked. Ian nodded. Oh dear. At least it's not me. At least it's not me. Ugh. Kit knelt on the floor in misery. In Muyela, they call bad omens catching a magpie. The wording might not be exact, but people believe that if a flock of ancient magpies appears, it means the country is about to face disaster. Some also say it originates from the crows that brought news of defeat on the battlefield. Anyway, it's clear to me now, this is what catching a magpie feels like, she thought in anguish. Kit hugged her bedding and walked down the wooden stairs. If not, why would I, someone who hasn't had to move rooms in 2 years, have to move twice in 1 week? It's all Ian's fault. She fumed with each step. Creak! Crack, the stairs are cracking. I have to be careful, she thought. Ian suddenly looked back. Nothing good has happened since he arrived, Kit thought. He gets the leaky room, and I have to move twice. Not to mention my bruised shoulder, falling while doing laundry, and arguing with Daisy. Kit recalled the unpleasant events. Ian, do you need any help? Daisy asked, approaching him amiably. Ian simply replied, no, thank you. Daisy glanced at Kit and turned away. Kit sighed sadly. There are only 4 maids my age in the mansion, and now one of them hates me. It's all Ian's fault. She blamed him. The broken stairs shook. Kit stumbled and was about to fall. Before her eyes was the image of the long staircase dropping away. I'm going to die from this height, she thought. But when she saw Ian, she seemed to regain her composure. It'll be all right. It's unclear what happened next, only that Ian's face darkened. Kit, unconscious, wondered, why don't I feel anything? Am I dead? She slowly opened her eyes. She remembered Ian's grim expression. What? A witch. Ian looked at the scene before him doubtfully. It didn't make sense. If she were a witch, she'd need some kind of magical tool, wouldn't she? She cast a spell without using anything. How? He wondered. Then all he heard was a scream and a crash. Ket landed on the ground in front of Ian's shoes, groaning in pain. Ugh, what? What happened? Ket stammered, bewildered. Are you a witch? Ian asked. Ket looked up. Huh? Ian stepped closer. Answer me. You're a witch, aren't you? No, no, no. What are you talking about? Ket was completely taken aback by the question. And what's with the knife? She noticed the knife held close to her neck. A witch. Me. What are you talking about? Ket retorted. This guy's completely freaked out, she thought. I'm going to clear this whole thing up, Ket thought. Get away from me. She yelled. Ian placed a hand on her trembling shoulder. You were just floating in the air, he said. Floating. Ket asked, surprised. Are you pretending you don't know? He continued. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Ket yelled. Ian grabbed her collar and pulled it open, startling her. He's crazy. This guy's a lunatic. Ket thought. Someone, help, she screamed. Don't get any ideas. I'm just looking for a branding mark, Ian said. A branding mark. Is he insane? Ket wondered. At least she's not a witch or a mage with a brand, Ian thought. In this place, if a witch or mage is discovered without a brand, they're immediately taken to the camps. If they don't comply, they're shot. To avoid this, all the witches fled into the deep forest, and the mages went to another kingdom. A few, unable to abandon their homeland, chose a life on the run. They're called wanderers. Is she a wanderer? Ian wondered. I don't understand what you're talking about, but I'm not a witch, Ket insisted. Should I believe that? Ian asked. This jerk, Ket thought. Do you have any proof that you're not a mage? She challenged. Do I look like a mage? Ian asked. I don't have to believe that, Ket retorted, leaving him speechless. He stood up with a sigh. Fine, let's say you're not a mage. Then what about what just happened? Ket asked. It was your magic, obviously. Ian. Ket, the person who fell down the stairs was you. Why would I use magic to save you? Ian said. If I were a witch, would I risk using magic for you to see? Ket argued. Maybe you're a witch who doesn't know how to control her powers, Ian countered. Maybe you're just making this up. Ket snapped. Ian sighed and rubbed his forehead. This is never going to end. I'm going to report this to the Baron. I hope he calls the guards, Ket threatened. I've lived in this village since I was 5. Everyone here, including the Baron and Baroness, knows I'm not a witch, Ket thought. Hearing this, Ian frowned. Ian, what's going on down there? Daisy called from the top of the stairs. I heard a commotion. What happened? She asked. Seeing her go downstairs, I turned and left. I just wanted to cry. I left that place and walked down the hallway filled with a whirlwind of emotions. I'm missing so much. Daisy sees me as an enemy. And then there are the kitchen chores I can't stand. The apprentice maids are both scarce and unhelpful. Ian is driving me crazy. She grumbled irritably, saying I really was a jinx. She opened the door to the room. Just a single bed inside. The room was completely empty. Only a small, single wooden bed inside. She placed her clothes on the bed and thought, I just have to endure a few more days. She let her hair down and removed her outer garments. Although this place is lower, just one floor down, there are no mice squeaking, nor can I hear the wind blowing in. She lay down on the bed and thought. The environment here is actually quite good, perhaps even better than before. So peaceful, she enjoyed it. After a while, she blinked awake. Drowsily, she said, I think I just dozed off. Looking towards the door, I wondered if everyone was already asleep. Suddenly, she heard someone say, eat this. She startled, wondering what was that. That sound, I'm the only one in the room. It's also very quiet outside. She thought, and then guessed, could it be a ghost? But actually, the voice sounded very familiar. She realized that. The voice spoke again. I brought it back from. To give to Ian. Hearing the name Ian, she immediately sat up. There's no way I misheard. This is definitely Daisy's voice. She affirmed in her mind. But where is it coming from? Curious, she wondered, did she take it from the kitchen? The voice came from a ventilation shaft. I looked towards it, suspicious. Is the sound coming from there? That's the vent for listening to the children. Oh my goodness, I don't want to hear their voices at all. I turned over in bed and covered my ears with a pillow. I don't want to listen to them while I sleep. I have to get up early tomorrow. As soon as I wake up, I have to start baking scones and making butter. I thought, I really hate this. Damn it, she tossed and turned. It's clear I've caught a magpie, she admitted. The next day in the kitchen, the head chef was yelling. What's wrong with you today, Why don't you know where you put the butter? I'm wondering the same thing, she thought. There's no way it was the rats, she affirmed. Why would half the butter suddenly disappear like that? She wondered. That was the last of the butter for this morning's breakfast. The thought made her furious. Why do these things keep happening in the mansion? So what are we going to do? If we order it today, it won't arrive until tomorrow, the head chef said loudly. No, we can't do it, I sighed. What do you mean we can't? The head chef asked. It's gone. How can we make it? For now, let's skip the butter and just serve them 3 kinds of jam. I said, oh, is that so? That's easy to say. Where are we going to get 3 kinds of jam? The head chef angrily asked. I just made some. Since it's still quite warm, you can tell them it has a special flavor. I told her. What about the butter we need for dinner? The head chef continued to yell. I'll go buy some right away, I calmly replied. If I go to the village immediately, I should be back in time for dinner. Thinking this, she took off her apron and prepared to leave. It's a good thing I woke up early to make the jam. If I waited until the afternoon, it would probably spoil because it's so hot. She opened the door. 3 servants were walking down the hallway. It was Ian. Penelope recognized him and suddenly stopped. How unlucky, she thought. Seeing him, she turned away. In the village, she had found a place to buy butter. Well, here's my butter. Thank you. Penelope received the butter, feeling a wave of relief. She relaxed. Free from the burden, she suddenly felt very hungry. Who took the butter from the kitchen? She wondered as she walked down the road. Surely the Baron and Baroness didn't take it for a snack last night. Mike wouldn't even know where the kitchen is. Ian's room was very quiet last night, too. She didn't realize she was observing Ian habitually. There's absolutely no clue. Lost in thought, that she suddenly bumped into something. Then, everything went black as she fell to the ground. A kind man came over and asked, Are you all right? Penelope sat on the ground and looked up. I'm so sorry, Mississippi. I wasn't careful. The man apologized. Penelope politely replied, Oh, it's okay. The man seemed to recognize her. He quickly turned, pulled his hat down to cover his face, and started to leave. Well, if that's the case, then that's a relief. I'll excuse myself then. Penelope also found him very familiar. That person, I think I've seen him somewhere before. Looking at his back, she realized, is that the inspector? She asked, and the other person, hearing this, was startled and froze. He said, You've mistaken me for someone else. Penelope didn't believe him and quickly ran in front of him to check. Mistaken you? For who? She thought as the man flinched. Didn't you return to the capital? Penelope asked. About that. The inspector hesitated. Finally, he sighed in defeat and took off his hat. To be precise, I've come back here, the inspector said. You came back. Why? Is there another criminal in the village? Penelope seemed frightened. But if so, what crime could he have committed? She wondered. Who knows exactly what this inspector is investigating, but it's serious enough for him to come all the way here, she thought, sweating. Well, about that, the inspector said with a friendly smile. I'm here for a different matter. Oh, does the Baron know about this? Penelope was asking when suddenly, without a word, the inspector answered and grabbed her hand, pulling her along. He seemed quite flustered. Before things become clear, I don't think it's necessary to bother the Baron. Oh, is that so? Penelope said, holding her wrist, while thinking, if that's the case, does he mean the previous case hasn't been solved yet? So he hasn't made any progress. The inspector continued, Actually, I came back because I was informed that another criminal is hiding in this village. You say a criminal. What did he do? Penelope asked. The inspector shook his head wearily and replied, He's an extremely ruthless individual. He's done things beyond our imagination. Penelope gasped at the answer, as if she had just run into a wall. Beyond imagination. What does that even mean? She wondered, and then the image of Ian holding a knife to her throat flashed in her mind, making her grimace and mutter, Oh my God. Is the reason you don't want to inform the Baron about this because it's related to that criminal? Penelope asked cautiously. The inspector looked around. He raised a hand to his mouth, signaling secrecy. Ket, realizing his intent, was shocked. So it was true. She thought, could that person be someone from the mansion? Ket was frightened and sweating. The inspector, hearing her question, probed, could there be someone suspicious there? Ket nodded vigorously after he finished. It was extremely suspicious. After all, what kind of servant carries a dagger? And the last person he spoke to before disappearing was that Ian. Moreover, that night, she thought, and the image of herself floating in front of the stairs reappeared. What was that about? She wondered. It's not like she was a witch. What witch could live this long without knowing they were one? Impossible, she affirmed. Therefore, it must have been Ian. He hadn't revealed what he'd done before arriving at the mansion, and the way he seemed to absorb everyone in that strange atmosphere around him. Ket continued to search for evidence. Lost in thought, the inspector's voice brought her back to reality. Ms. Smith. We should tell him that Ian is very suspicious, right? But it's just my intuition. Ket hesitated. What if it was all a misunderstanding? What if, because of her accusation, Ian was arrested and tortured to death like other witches or wizards? Ket thought she didn't hate him that much. She agonized. Seeing her hesitation, the inspector, just smiled. If it's inconvenient, you don't have to say anything. I'm sorry, Ket replied. The inspector continued. It's all right. I'm staying at the inn over there. Whenever you want to talk, just come find me. Yes, I understand. Sorry for bothering you, Ket responded. All right, see you next time then. The inspector said goodbye. He smiled brightly, tipping his hat to her. Ket smiled back. Now that she noticed he looked normal today, thanks to that, she could easily remember his face. Chestnut hair, brown eyes, and a gentle face that brought a sense of familiarity, not heaviness like someone. The inspector's handsome face appeared in her memory. Wait, what was the inspector's name? She wondered on her way back. Arriving at the mansion, the guests had already arrived. The entire mansion was bustling. Ket was busy running errands. Just as she sat down to rest, someone called. Ket, are you free? Me. Do you need help with something? Ket asked, but thought, I just got a break. Bill said, everyone is so busy, but Ian said he wasn't feeling well. No wonder I haven't seen him, Ket thought. Right now, all the mansion servants are doing other work. Could you go check on him and see how he's doing? If he's okay, tell him to come down here and help me, Bill requested. Ket complained internally. Why me? I really don't want to see that crazy guy at all. I'll go, Daisy spoke up. Thank goodness, Ket thought. Then I'll take care of things in the kitchen. No, let Ket go, Bill decided. Both Ket and Daisy frowned. Why? What's wrong, Daisy? You could go check the guest clothes for me. They got some mud on them on the way here, but their attendants can't do anything about it, Bill explained. You could have asked Ket to do that too, Daisy grumbled. But you're better at laundry, Bill replied firmly. Daisy, unable to argue back, stomped off, slamming the door. Ket sighed, thinking this is going to get me in trouble again. Did something happen? The relationship between Daisy and Ian has been a bit strange lately, Bill asked. Darn it, my ears. Everyone in the kitchen is practically bursting with curiosity. It's none of my business, Ket thought. Why do I always have to get involved in their problems? Please, just leave me alone. Ket cried silently. If you say so, then I guess there's no problem. Well then, I'll leave it to you, Bill said. All chances of refusal were gone. Ket groaned. If I have to keep doing these annoying things, I'm going to explode. I'm going to lose it. I should probably keep a knife handy, Ket thought wearily. She walked softly to Ian's door and pressed her ear against it, listening. It was silent inside. She took hold of the doorknob. Click. Suddenly, a force pulled her inside. Not again, was all she had time to think. You can't bathe twice in the same river. Her hand grasped something, ripping it. A moment later, she was lying face down on the floor, Ian in front of her. What are you doing? He asked, his face cold. I know that, Ket stammered, embarrassed, lifting her face. Her eyes landed on Ian's shoulder. His shirt was torn. Whoa, why are you wearing a ripped shirt? She asked, pointing. Ian followed her gaze. He scowled at Ket. Oh, was that what I grabbed when I fell? Ket realized. But you're sick. But you look so healthy. She quickly changed the subject. Cough, cough, Ian replied, suddenly coughing repeatedly. Ket watched him curl up on the bed, confused. What is he doing now? Seriously, she was exasperated. This is the first time I've seen someone fake being sick so dramatically. She walked over and pulled the blanket off Ian. Get up. Everyone is so busy, and you're playing sick. Really? She looked at him resolutely. He returned her gaze. How is she so perceptive? Ian thought, sitting up. What? Get up and go downstairs. Ket said, if you're going to act, at least commit to the role. Ket criticized. Come on, get out of here. Wait, he said. I can't go out there. Ian said. Why? Ket asked loudly. My shirt is like this, he said, looking at his shoulder. Ket understood. I guess I can't go out for a while then, Ian said with a sly smile. Ket stared at his face, a little dazed. He's really handsome. His half-closed eyes gave a surprisingly different impression. Maybe I understand why all the girls are crazy about him, Ket assessed. She thought for a moment. What do you mean you can't go out? Just sew the sleeve back on, Ket said. Could you show me how to sew? Ian asked. Ket was shocked. Does this guy not know anything about sewing? That's ridiculous. How can a servant not know basic skills like sewing clothes? She eyed him suspiciously. Ian glanced at her. Ket's eyes were glued to his movements. Wait, what are you doing? Ket asked, startling Ian. I'm threading the needle. What else? He replied. Ket sighed. No, that's not how you do it. Okay, fine. Give it here. I'll do it, she said, exasperated. Ian handed her the needle. Give me the shirt too, Ket said. Ian looked surprised. How can I sew it if you're wearing it? Ket asked. Oh, but you can keep it on. She trailed off, a mischievous glint in her eye as she imagined poking the needle through. Meanwhile, Ian had taken off his shirt. Here, he said. Snow looked at him and shyly hummed a tune. He wasn't even wearing an undershirt. Through the doorway, Ket's back could be seen. She was focused on sewing. A quiet room. A brand new shirt. There weren't any patches anywhere. Ket touched the shirt and thought, did he buy this before coming here? There aren't any shops around here that sell this kind of shirt. I'm curious. How could you tell? Ket asked. Ian replied, I can tell just by looking. The finishing is different. The shops in the village never have stitching like this. She held up the shirt. The stitching. Ian looked puzzled. See here. The thread is tripled. Ket pointed it out. I'm not sure. Ian said, his face moving closer. Their heads were almost touching. Whoa, too close. Ket realized. It would be better if you knew a little bit about this. She shyly backed away. Knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Ian, shirtless, opened the door. It was Penelope. She smiled brightly when she saw him. Ian, I'm checking the guest attire. I was wondering if you needed any help. Mid-sentence, she saw Ket in the room. Penelope was startled. She stepped back. No, I don't have anything that needs mending, Ian said, glancing back at Ket. When he turned back, Penelope was gone. She walked away with heavy steps, seemingly in a hurry. What was that about? Ket asked, confused. Ian replied, I think I heard a woman's voice. Not sure. Not sure about what? Ket wondered. Anyway, try it on, she said. Ket watched him put on the shirt. She stretched up with some difficulty. Bend down a little. Let me see if it fits all right. Okay. Ian stared at her. He bent down and asked, is this okay? It's fine. Ket replied, well, if you're done, come downstairs and help me. Ket reminded him as she left. Not again. Everyone is incredibly busy. She exasperatedly pulled Ian off the bed. I can't go out there, Ian said firmly. Why not? Ket asked, perplexed. She noticed that as soon as the guests arrived, he insisted on hiding in his room, feigning illness and sleeping. Is there a guest that makes you uncomfortable? Ket asked. Ian flinched. Seeing his reaction, she pressed. So it's true, isn't it? Do you know someone among the guests? She wondered. Could it be that he came to this town without a letter of introduction? She suspected. Did you used to work for one of them? She probed. A scandal? She continued to speculate. Did you have some kind of scandal? You and the lady of the house you used to work for. The two of you. Were you? She stammered, voicing her suspicion. Ian sat up abruptly. Are you asking if I had an affair with my former employer? Yes, that's it. Ket's affirmation silenced Ian. What kind of person does this girl think I am? Ian thought, exasperated. It wasn't an affair. That lady tried to seduce me, and I refused her. So she forced me to become a servant. A shameless one, Ian recounted. So that's why you were fired. Ket was surprised. I thought those things only happened to maids. Turns out, male servants aren't exempt. Ket felt a pang of guilt. That's enough, Ian thought. All right, let's get to work, Ket said to Ian. Me too, Ian questioned. Am I supposed to go alone? Aren't you going to help me? Ian questioned. Why should I? Ket asked. Well, yes, but I've already lied so much, Ian said dejectedly. Just go, and I'll help you later. I'm really busy right now. How? Ket asked. A while ago, Ian made some mistakes, so Baron Gabion doesn't want to see him. So today, Ian will only bring the food to the dining room entrance. Then Tom will stand at the door and help him bring the food inside to serve the guests, the butler explained. How could Ian possibly make a mistake serving compared to Tom? Bill wondered. Tom agreed. Humph, what a bunch of gossips, Baroness Dottie, the head chef grumbled. Ket sat at the table resting with the other servants. Bill came over and sat down, sighing wearily. Finally, a chance to rest. Daisy asked Ian, is your illness any better? Ian looked confused. Ket noticed and cleared her throat, gesturing to him. Ahem, you idiot, she frowned. Oh, right. Ian understood. Daisy, looking concerned, asked, aren't you coming down with a cold? A spiteful servant smirked. I don't think dogs catch colds in the spring, do they? Are you calling Ian a dog? Daisy bristled. I'm saying dogs don't catch colds. How could I be calling him a dog? The servant retorted. Ket sat silently, listening. Suddenly, music drifted from somewhere. Sounds like they're dancing up there, someone guessed. Let's go dance too, Daisy suggested excitedly. Ket seemed uninterested and stood up to leave. Baroness Dottie, noticing, asked, where are you going? I'm going to take a bath, Ket replied. I haven't had a bath in ages. I can't miss this opportunity, she thought happily, skipping and humming. The sound of running water trickled. Ket luxuriated in the hot water. Ah, how lucky that someone filled the tub. She happily lifted her leg to lather it with soap, humming. Is it you, witch? A voice called from outside, startling her. Who's there? Are they talking to me? She wondered fearfully. Hey, Red, the voice continued, and Ket recognized it. Oh my God, it's Ian. Where's my robe? She fumbled, looking around. Can I come in? Ian asked. Are you crazy? Ket exclaimed. She doesn't seem to have her robe, Ian thought. Call me when you're done, he said. Ket, her face flushed, thought, what? Why would I do that? Are you insane? She asked again. I have to be to get my things back, he replied casually. I was only looking for a towel for a moment, Ket thought. Your things? She asked, puzzled, looking around. She saw the serving gloves on the table. I get it, she said to herself. So Ian was the one who prepared the bath. Embarrassed, she sank beneath the water. After her bath, she stepped out, dressed, and looked around. No one was there. Ian was inside, leaning against the window. Ian, Kit called out. I'm so sorry. She began awkwardly. Ian looked at her, confused. Just as I was getting out, Gil and Janet said they wanted to bathe too, so I left this for you, she explained, holding something out. I guess I won't be able to bathe today, he thought. All right, he said. I'm sorry you couldn't bathe because of me. Here, this is for you. She offered him a bar of soap. Soap? Ian asked, taking it with a puzzled look. Do I smell? He asked. No, it's not that. I just wanted to apologize. I barged in and took your bath, so I wanted to offer you something in return. Kit replied, this sweet scent. Ian thought, doesn't he like it? It's strawberry and vanilla. Kit asked, Kit, do you? Ian stood dumbfounded. You hate it? Kit asked. No, I don't need it, Ian said, returning the soap to Kit. But as Kit was about to say something more, Ian leaned in close. I don't know where that scent is coming from, he said. Kit, flustered, replied, all right, because it's similar to what I'm using. Don't you think it's a bit strong? Ian said calmly. It's so strong that you're becoming quite delicious. He chuckled. You're not saying I look like a giant strawberry, are you? She asked, bursting into laughter. He stroked her hair. Now that she mentions it, it really does. He brought a strand of her hair to his nose. It really does smell delicious. This guy's acting like he's about to devour me. Kit, embarrassed, said, Hey, you can't eat me. Ian looked puzzled. Oh, I mean the soap. Even if it smells good, you can't eat it. Haha. Kit quickly corrected herself. Do you think I'm a child? Ian asked. Well, anyway, I'm really sorry that you couldn't take your bath because of me. Kit continued. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Ian thought, I don't really need anything. Oh, actually, he suddenly remembered something. Then, may I ask you a few things? I know you fetch books for Baroness Dottie, but have you ever read to her? He asked. Daisy must have told him. Kit guessed. No, the Baroness can read herself. Kit replied. So that's how it is. Ian thought. Come in, he said. Kit hesitantly stepped inside. Sit down, Ian said, gesturing towards the table. Of course, he wouldn't bother asking me if I want anything to drink. Kit observed. Have you ever read any of the Baroness's books? He asked. I've read a few, she replied. What kind of books are they? He continued. Kit, cautious, thought, is he interrogating me? Ian shrugged. It's just that this is the first time I've met someone who can read. Is that so? Actually, Baroness Dottie is a rare case for me too. Normally, the nobility and the wealthy don't need to read themselves. She thought. They consider reading to be a menial task, something only for women. It's actually quite difficult to find someone who reads. Kit continued. I was just curious about the Baroness's preferred genre. Ian said. He needs to adjust his tone. Kit thought. Fairy tales, Kit replied. Fairy tales. Ian seemed surprised. Yes, they're the kind of stories adults tell children, you know. Like the story of the evil dragon who kidnaps the princess, and then a knight defeats it to rescue her. A dragon, not a sorcerer. Ian asked. Well, usually it's a sorcerer, Kit thought. When I was little, the person who told me these stories was quite old. You mean your grandparents? Ian continued to wonder. Oh, they're not my grandparents. They're much older than that. Kit thought for a moment. Generally speaking, they're mostly all fairy tales. But if you're interested, you can ask the Baroness to lend you the book. But she suggested, if you can read. She added while Ian was pondering something. Yes, I can read, Ian said. Tell me the name of the book. You can read. Kit was startled. A strong young man like Ian can read. She thought in surprise. He's really hard to understand, Kit acknowledged. Let me write it down for you. Do you have paper and a pen? She asked. Wait a moment. Ian stood up. Does he have a pen? And paper too. Kit was a little taken aback. Put the paper on the table. Do you need my help? Kit reached out and accidentally touched his hand. Ian replied, Oh no. Be careful. The papers are falling everywhere. Oh no, I'm sorry. Kit bent down, flustered to pick up the papers. Ian clenched his hand, thinking, good heavens, that's scent. It's okay. It's just blank paper, he said, then turned away. After picking up all the papers, Kit saw something. A piece of paper read, blonde hair, freckles, purple eyes. Approximately 25 years old. Female. What is this? She wondered curiously. Ian quickly snatched the paper. Thanks. Now you just need to fill this out. I understand, Kit stammered as she wrote. A moment later, Ian hurriedly pushed her out the door, leaving her standing there. What was that about? She wondered, puzzled by what was written on the paper. She recalled the description. Blonde hair, freckles, purple eyes. Approximately 25 years old. Looking at it, you'd know it's, and she thought. Ian's letter and Anne's disappearance. What's the connection? The inspector had said if she had anything to say, she could go to him any time. Kit worried, debating whether she should go or not. But what then? All I know is that Ian always carries a dagger. It seems he encountered some misfortune in the capital, so he fled here. And maybe he's a sorcerer or a wizard, she pondered carefully. What if he's not a sorcerer? She wondered. What if, and is a sorceress? Many questions arose in her mind. No, it can't be. There's no way, she asserted. In the kitchen, with things scattered on the table, Ket looked at the yellow dish and exclaimed, "Oh," as expected of the Baronan family. Even the sorbet is extremely high class compared to other nobles. "Ket, are you done?" The head chef's voice startled Ket. "Yes, it's done," she replied, transferring the dish to a plate. "Should I slice it thinner?" she asked. "Enough already. Do you want it to slide down their throats before they even chew?" The head chef snapped irritably. Ket shrugged and glanced at her. The head chef huffed and turned away. Ket noticed a commotion. Downstairs, the nobles were talking about something. It seems they're about to leave, she guessed. The visiting guests, due to business matters, had decided to leave the house for a while to inspect the goods with Baron Nan. Sure enough, Mike was going with his father, so now only Baroness Nan and the servants remained in the house. Including the Baroness's friends, there were at most a little over 10 people, she thought to herself. Suddenly, she noticed a servant rushing past. "Janet, if you're finished, come here quickly." "My name is Gil, not Janet," Gil said. "Oh, is that so?" Ket asked. "Hard to tell apart, right?" Gil asked. "They're sisters, but they look exactly like twins," Ket thought, smiling. Washing dishes in cold water must have made her hands icy. "Drink this." She offered the drink. "Thank you," Gil said cheerfully. I found a difference." Ket realized Gil had more freckles. "Have some cookies, too," she thought, offering the plate. "Can I?" Gil asked. "Yes, because the Baron and Baroness haven't touched them, even though they've been out for a day," Ket explained. "Well, since they've been out a day, it's okay," she added. Gil took a small bite of the cookie. Delicious. Her face was happy, her eyes sparkling. "Eat as much as you like," Ket offered cheerfully. I don't think she's ever had a cookie before. Of course, that head chef would never let her have any, she thought. "Can I not take some somewhere else?" Gil asked hesitantly. "Of course, take them and share them with your sister," Ket said as she wrapped up the remaining cookies. "How old is she?" she asked. "Since she's an orphan, we don't know exactly how old she is. But seeing how small and thin she is, I'd guess she's about 14 at most," Ket observed, looking at the happy girl. "How did the two of you manage to stay together and not get separated?" Ket asked. "Well, my sister and I promised we'd never leave each other. So this," Gil said, touching the half-metal piece on her necklace. "Even if we forget, this is proof. Proof for when we meet again." "Oh, you're so smart," Ket said, patting Gil's head. "I think that's something their parents left them a long time ago," she thought. "Ket, stop chatting and check the soup," so Betty. The head chef yelled, startling both of them. Gil quickly hid her necklace. "I won't tell anyone," Ket reassured her with a wink. Gil smiled brightly. "The guests have all left, so we get a half day off today," the butler announced cheerfully. "Hooray!" Tom cheered, then shyly covered his mouth. "Except for you, Ket. You have to work in the kitchen today," the butler called back as Ket started to leave. "I'll give you a separate day off later instead," he added. Ket sighed in disappointment. "Yes, sir," she replied. She flicked her hand, splashing water. "Dinner preparations start in an hour, so hurry downstairs," the head chef ordered. "Yes, ma'am," Ket replied obediently. Walking down the hallway, she glanced towards Ian's room, as she often did. Ian's room must be empty now. I saw Daisy go in and hang up his coat, and then leave, she thought suspiciously, looking in that direction. "I'm not planning on sneaking in, but," she thought. She mused, standing inside the room and looking around. "There's probably nothing on the bed," she thought doubtfully, eyeing a piece of paper on the table. "I didn't see that there before either. If so, then the only place left is," she thought suddenly, throwing open the closet door. Anything there? Suspicious evidence of Ian's. She wondered, scanning the closet. Ket opened a drawer. "If I get caught now, I'll definitely be labeled a crazy girl. But people usually hide things in places like this," she muttered to herself. She reached in and felt something. "What's this?" She saw a sparkling piece of jewelry. "It's clearly the Baron's ring." She slipped the ring onto her index finger. It was loose. "What are you doing here?" A voice called from behind, making her jump. It was the butler. I was just putting the laundry away." She stammered, flustered. "You didn't drink any alcohol today." She wondered. "Then why? You should have left it at the door. This will cause a misunderstanding, so please go outside tomorrow." "A little mouse, huh?" Having survived, the two girls collapsed face down on the bed, groaning comfortably. That was almost a disaster. I'm crazy, she recalled. Even if Ian is a criminal, it's still the same. Where did I get the idea to rummage through someone else's room like that? She covered her face in regret. Ugh, what's this? She looked at her hand. It's huge. She quickly flung the ring off her finger, and it rolled across the floor. Oh my God, could it be? She was terrified. Did I accidentally take it with me? Did I steal it? Panicked, she thought, I need to put it back where it was. She opened the door resolutely, only to come face to face with the butler. She gave a weak smile and hurried away. This is why people commit deadly sins, she thought fearfully, pretending to go downstairs. I want to look around a little more, Daisy whined. It's so rare to be outside, Ian. Ket was sitting in the kitchen. That hateful girl. She pretends to be innocent, but behind our backs, she's wagging her tail all over the place. Daisy connected with a sharp look. Ket glanced back, her heart pounding. Thump, thump. Damn it. At this rate, I won't have time to put it back, she worried. Should I just tell Ian the truth? No, that won't work. She dismissed the idea immediately. Besides that ring, it looks way too expensive for a servant, she thought, picturing the jewels set in the gold band. It's the kind of ring only nobles would own. Even if I said it was passed down from my parents, it still looks too expensive. She analyzed. Where did it come from? She wondered. Could it be stolen? The inspector said he was a dangerous criminal. She questioned herself. What if he killed someone and stole the ring? She speculated. How are the potatoes coming along? The head chef's voice called out suddenly, interrupting her thoughts. Look here. Where's your mind at? The head chef asked. Ket cut her finger. Ouch, ouch. I think the bandages are up there, she remembered. I'll have to get a chair to reach them. What is it? She thought as someone approached. Ket bumped into him. Ouch, she exclaimed, startled. I asked, what is it? Ian repeated softly. Ket was confused. What are you trying to get? I'll get it for you, Ian offered. Oh, it's a bandage, she said. Ian reached up and retrieved it. Thank you, Ket mumbled, flustered. She took the bandage, avoiding Ian's gaze. He noticed and stared at her. WH what? She asked, frightened. Why are you looking at me like that? Why aren't you leaving yet? She thought frantically. Could he have noticed the ring is missing? She wondered. Ian reached for a knife, making her panic even more. A knife. She squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for the worst. Ian stood there, pondering. Could this girl really be a witch? He wondered, looking at her trembling form. I only threatened her a little. Nothing really happened, he thought. Yet she's cowering against the wall like that. I think I was wrong, Ian realized. Maybe that magic wasn't her doing. During the golden age of magic, I heard people used it even for trivial things. Could there be residual magic left in this house? Ian reasoned. If so, that would be great. I think I just said it would be great if that were the case. I touched my throat, wondering. Anyway, it's none of my business. I put the knife down and turned away. Ket, hearing no further sound, cautiously opened her eyes. When she did, no one was there. What was that? Was I hallucinating? Ket wondered what had just happened. She stood there bewildered, lost in thought. Thinking back, it didn't make sense. Why would he stab me in the kitchen? How can anyone do that? Why was I so scared? She asked herself. What is she doing? She's acting like an idiot, Daisy sneered. Had she really just acted like an idiot? Ket blushed with embarrassment in front of Ian. That jerk. She fumed, chopping a potato in half. Ket, what are you doing? Someone exclaimed in alarm. Ket went upstairs. She saw Ian standing at the top of the stairs, looking down. What's he doing just standing there? If he wants to apologize, he should stop playing games and just say something, she thought irritably. Suddenly, Ian reached out and pushed her. Ket stumbled backward in surprise and fell. Ian's expression remained cold. I didn't trip. That little brat pushed me on purpose, she thought, shocked. You jerk, she managed to yell. Suddenly, Ian rushed forward and caught her. Her heart pounded. Ket was startled by what was happening. Ian helped her sit down on the stairs. He sighed in relief. She snapped back to reality. Now you, she started angrily, pulling away. She was about to yell at him when she met his sharp gaze. Ket stopped, faltering. She continued up the stairs. Ket kept asking herself what was going on. He definitely pushed me, and when I was about to fall, he caught me. What's his deal? Is he crazy? What's his motive? She wondered. Earlier, he threatened me with a knife. He's testing me, she realized with certainty. The incident on the stairs was a test. He put me in danger to see if I would use magic. What if he had caught me a moment later? She imagined. I would have tumbled down the stairs. At best, a broken neck. At worst, death. She considered the worst-case scenario. He risked my life for this dangerous experiment. She couldn't believe it. Could the same thing have happened to? And she suddenly remembered where she died there. With that cold look, that indifferent expression, could he have hidden her body from everyone? Kit speculated. Ian sat numbly on the stairs. He looked at his hands. She was trembling, he recalled. He felt like a terrible person. He put his hand to his forehead, filled with regret. Utterly terrible. He remembered her terrified expression. Damn it, he stood up abruptly. If I'd caught her a moment later, his hands trembled. She must think I'm a monster. It's better this way, he thought sadly, walking away. When it's all over, she'll probably hate me. She didn't like me from the start. He thought, the girls around me are divided into two types. One type likes me just by looking at my face. There's no other reason. And the second type is rarer. They either intensely dislike or fear me. Like Kit, he thought, then walked to her door. Ian looked towards it with a sad expression. It's better this way, he thought sadly, walking away. The next morning, no, if it's about helping the Baron, I can help as much as needed. But do you mean the cook there? A woman in the village said. If it's about that, the butler begged me not to do it. He even said he would give me more wages. More than last time, the woman continued. Besides, I can wrap up some of the leftovers to take home. Kit said. Oh, really? The woman replied cheerfully. Actually, that would be fine. I understand. I'll go. The woman agreed. I'm so tired, Kit sighed. The master and the guests are about to return. Because all the girls who came last time refused, I'm having such a hard time. She recalled. Anyway, it's all because of that grumpy head chef. She shuddered with anger. She turned and started walking towards an inn. Miss Smith, I'm here. The inspector waved to her. I was worried I might miss him, but he found me so easily. Could it be that he really doesn't know the Baron is here? She wondered. Hello. Kit greeted him warmly. Would you like a cup of tea? The inspector asked. Oh, yes, please, Kit replied. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? The inspector smiled warmly. Yes, it is, she replied. I've been thinking. I have the impression that he really grew up surrounded by love. Kit thought. Yes, well, the inspector began. You wanted to see me about something. He asked. Well, the thing is, Kit became pensive. There's a rather suspicious servant in my mansion, she said. What kind of servant? The inspector became serious. He always carries a knife, and he also carries this ring. She explained, taking out the ring. The inspector stared at it intently. Where did you find this? He asked. Did you steal it? The inspector asked her. No, that's not it. Kit blushed and cried out. Realizing she shouldn't raise her voice, she whispered, it's not like that. I wasn't trying to steal it, but it just happened. Just happened how? The inspector asked, confused. He fiddled with the ring in his hand. Does the servant know about this? That the ring is missing, or that I took it? She asked. She's sharp, the inspector thought with a smile. Both, he said. I don't think so. I haven't heard him say he's looking for it, she replied. Looking for it? You mean you would have heard him? The inspector was surprised. Yes, due to the circumstances, it belongs to Ian. Oh, the servant's name is Ian. I overheard him through a vent connected to my room, she stammered. 1, 2, the inspector sighed. I've made myself seem like such a strange girl. I've already rummaged through his room and stolen his ring, and now I'm eavesdropping too. She scolded herself. Yes, wait a minute. Suddenly, her face flushed. It's not like I was deliberately eavesdropping. She said, yes, I understand. It's just that Ian, you said, is a servant. He doesn't know this, so that explains it, the inspector said with a chuckle. No one else but him. Suspicious, isn't it? The inspector asked. Even if there were others. Lately, only Ian has been acting strangely, Kit replied. I see, the inspector said, understanding her implication. However, among the servants who worked here before, has anyone acted strangely or anything like that? He continued. Previous servants? Kit asked. Although Ian was the most suspicious, Kit thought. A maid disappeared recently, she revealed. A maid. The inspector seemed not to have heard clearly. Yes, she was closest to me, but she suddenly vanished, Kit explained. Wasn't she just returning to her family? The inspector wondered. If that were the case, she would have told me. Besides, most of the servants working in the mansion don't have families. Kit suddenly fell silent, fiddling with her teacup. Oh, right. Excuse me, but what's your name? She asked curiously. Well, you still don't know my name. The inspector asked, taken aback. I apologize, Kit replied. I'm Jay Killian. Just call me Jay, he said with a smile. Okay, Jay. Well, I'll be going then, Kit said, standing up to leave. What about the ring? Are you going to keep it? Jay quickly asked. I shouldn't have taken it, Kit thought. But what if it doesn't belong to Ian? She wondered aloud. If it's Ian's, I'll return it. But it might not be his. Haha, I see. So, what are you going to do? The inspector asked with a chuckle. First, I'll keep it, Kit said. I'll check if anyone has reported a lost or stolen ring. I'll let you know what I find out next time we meet. Is that all right? I shouldn't have taken the ring in the first place, she fretted. The person Jane is looking for is Ian, right? She asked, blowing on her tea. Jane smiled brightly. I don't know. I only know that the servant named Ian is a very cruel person. You were here to investigate a crime last time as well. Is there a connection between that case and this one? Ket asked. Jay watched Ket appraisingly. She's not only perceptive, but also intelligent, he thought. You don't know why I was here last time? He asked. They said the servants didn't need to know, she replied. Is that so? He responded. Jay set his teacup down on the saucer with a clink. It was smuggling, the inspector said with a smile. Back at the mansion, during dinner, the master, while eating, beckoned Bill over. I haven't seen the new servant anywhere, he said. You mean Ian? He wasn't feeling well, so he went to rest, Bill replied. What about that boy? Barrendale asked. I heard he's quite capable. He seems a bit suspicious, Bill said, thinking that Ian. Barrendale, surprised, asked, what's the matter? I went into his room and looked around, using the excuse that I was lost, Bill explained. Is that so? Where did he work before coming here? Barrendale continued to inquire. He said he worked at a merchant's house, Bill answered. Bill replied. The inspector pondered. Look into it further, he ordered, taking a sip of his tea. The aroma of roast duck filled the air. Ket, while grilling meat, glanced out the window. She saw something. It was Ian, sitting on the front steps, polishing shoes. He's so old, and he hasn't even finished polishing one shoe, Ket observed. She saw Daisy pacing back and forth nearby. You've never polished shoes before. Daisy asked. You're doing it wrong. Here, like this, Tom chimed in, demonstrating. Rudder gave a disdainful look. Another overgrown boy with a brain the size of a grape. What did you say? Daisy asked angrily. What did I say wrong? How can a servant not even polish a single shoe? She has a point, Daisy defended. Rudder crossed her arms and smirked. He's handsome, I'll give him that, but that's all. Someone like him could never be a good husband. Why doesn't he just stay home and play with dresses? Daisy's face darkened. What? That's a bit harsh, Ket thought. What does it have to do with her? Daisy yelled angrily. Suddenly, Ian appeared beside Ket, startling her. Huh, what's all the commotion? He looked at her and replied. They're arguing because of him, and he just says, what's all the commotion, and walks away. How could someone be like that? Ket couldn't understand. Whoa, scary. Tom's right, that is scary. Although the scariest thing is that calm demeanor of Ian's. Ket sighed, thinking, since you're here, help me pick these vegetables. Ket held out a basket of vegetables. Come to think of it, what if Ian is some kind of dangerous criminal? Should I really be exploiting his labor like this? She wondered. Ian took the basket and tore off 2 leaves. Ket was horrified. Hey, you haven't washed your hands, she exclaimed. The first rule of cooking is hygiene. Go wash your hands first. She angrily pushed him towards a sink. Seeing this, Tom thought, I think I know why Daisy hates Ket. Only Ket would dare to be so impertinent to Ian. He glared at Ket. Ian, use soap, he called out. Ian finished washing his hands, water still dripping from them. He stood there blankly as a hand towel was tossed to him. Ket, annoyed, dried his hands with the towel, just like a prince. What am I even doing? Daisy suddenly appeared, frowning and shouting. What are you doing? She's asking what I'm doing. Ket thought, but held her tongue. Here, keep drying, she said, releasing the towel. So annoying, Ian thought. Suddenly, he wrapped the towel around Ket's neck and pulled her close. I like this redhead, Ian said calmly. What? Daisy was furious. What did he just say? Ket was equally shocked. No, he's just lying, right? Daisy put her hands on her hips, acting as if she knew Ian's intentions. Lying? Ian asked, turning Ket to face him. Wait. This can't be happening. The image of Ian slowly moving closer filled Ket's vision. He's lost his mind. Why else would he act like this? She thought, gritting her teeth. Their lips met. Ket's eyes widened. Snap, don't. Daisy cried, her face a mixture of helplessness and anger as she watched Ian kiss Ket. Stop it right now, she yelled, bursting into tears and running away. Only then did Ian break the kiss. Ket stood there, stunned. Ian calmly went back to picking vegetables. So, alright. Tom cried out beside them. Ket remained frozen. I heard you and Ian kissed, Bill teased. Ket cringed, twisting the hand towel in her hands. I know, Bill chuckled, continuing to tease. So was he any good? Ket glared at him threateningly. Shut up. What's it to you? He's handsome, after all. Could he really be all looks and nothing else. What's Bill wondering about? Is being handsome everything? Is being handsome an excuse for everything? Even if that weren't the case, I still wouldn't have liked his flirtatious attitude. Obviously, with that handsome face. She twisted the handkerchief tighter in her anger. He used me to dump Daisy. If he had done it because he liked me, at least I would have felt a little less annoyed. She thought to herself, I'm not an object. Reaching this thought, she exploded and ripped the handkerchief in her hands. Just think of it as a good experience. Bill hadn't finished speaking before she threw half the handkerchief in his face. You just try saying another word. She threatened. What's with you? You're so. Bill said, you two are so well suited. Perfectly matched. Bill continued to humor her. I should throw the other half in his face too. She thought angrily. Just then, Ian rushed past. I've got you, she thought, and immediately threw the other half of the handkerchief towards Ian, but he caught it just in time. What's this? Ian asked, looking at the handkerchief. Before him stood Ket, fuming. Don't you have anything to say to me? She demanded. Although he didn't know what was going on, she seemed very angry. I guess I could have predicted this, he thought. At least you could apologize to me. She yelled. Why should I? Ian remained calm. I told you I like you, so I don't need to apologize for anything. His answer made Ket even more annoyed. He's lying, she thought. Don't lie to me. Even if you don't apologize. Really? She said seriously. You don't like me, do you? She asserted. Not just me, but everyone in this house. Does the person you like even exist? Ket wondered to herself. She's a smart girl, Ian thought, looking at her, and brave. No one has dared to lie to my face until now. Even if they gossip behind my back, no one dares to criticize me directly. Thinking this, he smiled. It's a shame she's just a servant. Her appearance isn't bad, and she's intelligent. He appreciated her perceptiveness, sharpness, and above all, her literacy. Yes, I don't like you. Ian stepped closer to her face and admitted. However, that doesn't mean I'm not interested in you, he whispered in her ear. Because you're not sure if I'm a witch or not, Ket said. That's one reason, Ian continued to admit. But it might not be because of witchcraft. Ket froze. Is it possible to hate someone this much? Her hands trembled with anger as Ian walked away. Suddenly, someone grabbed Ket's hand. What are you doing? Daisy asked. What's this? Ket was annoyed. What is she talking about? If you like Ian, just say it. Don't pretend you don't like him and then seduce him behind my back. Daisy snapped, forcing her to admit it. At least Ian is better than you. The more she talks, the more outrageous she gets. What? Seduce. Daisy's words confused Ket. No way. From the situation just now. How could she mistake me for seducing him? She wondered. Wait a minute. It seems you've misunderstood. Ket tried to explain. Misunderstood. If it's not a misunderstanding, then what is it? Saying you don't like him to his face, but then doing all sorts of things to seduce him behind his back. Daisy retorted. Doing all sorts of things, seducing, what do you want me to do? Ket seethed. Just keep trying your pathetic little games. I won't let you get away with it. Daisy glared at her warningly.